Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's late. It's like super late. But I know that we did get the calendar out for Heroes. So I wanted to just kind of talk about what the next few weeks in general sort of look like, and then kind of bounce some thoughts off about the calendar that we did get tonight, which will take us through the rest of May. And then, like, the first-ish half, roughly, like the first week and a half through June, and what that kind of means for you, as well as what we actually have here on the calendar confirmed. So there's login bonuses. There's always going to be a login bonus every day you log in. Sometimes there's going to be some extras where there's a little bit of overlap, you know, which is, it's cool. Free things are always nice. So, never turn a blind eye at that, obviously. We got some quests. Those kind of are what they are, admittedly. It's not anything that spectacular, per se. But overall, I think things are good. Outside of that, the blue category here is going to be events, I guess is what you classify them as. Is that what we call them? Events. Yes, events confirmed. And anytime I know that we see events over banners, I know that it means it's going to be a very summon heavy month. And what that means for you is that there's a lot of distractions, frankly, that would otherwise deviate you from whatever it is your orb budgeting or expenditure needs would be. So take that for what it's worth. As far as events that are upcoming, I think the notable ones, obviously, the Legendary Hero Battle. So we have a Legendary confirmed for the end of the month. Random Illusory Dungeon, which I think happens like twice a year? 3 times a year? Something crazy like that. Tempest Trials Plus. It's going to be coming, the new Bride banner. It's going to be dropping mid-May. And just some revivals. Obviously, Turn of Fate. That Forging Bond's coming back, so you can have tickets, which is nice. Limited Hero Battle that happens every month. Bonds of Loki that happens every month. Hall of Forms revival that's happening this time around. I think it's 3 houses summer. Hall of Forms in general, stuff like that. All the good stuff that you're used to, right? Seer Snare, personal favorite down here. That's fun for everybody, I think, myself included. Yeah, it's just there's things. You'll also notice that we have Forging Bonds and Grand Hero Battle happening that first week, the end of the first week in June. That is going to be the mid-book, or what should be the mid-book story and banner. And then what we will likely end up having is going to be Special Heroes Summer Banner Part 1 at the end of June, and then again at the beginning of July. And so it's going to be like a 60-day drought for the most part, until we see the next portion of story happen in Heroes, which, I have qualms, frankly, about an enemy who, spoiler warning, is able to take control of other people and then force them to drink or ingest, rather, otherwise deadly substances that could, have saved 6 months worth of story building. But that is not the topic of conversation for this particular video. But other than that, the events, they are what they are. You either enjoy them or you don't. Emphasis on the don't. And, you do it when you can. As far as the banners go, there's a couple of ones to point out. I will never really endorse a skills banner. Not in this economy, at least. There's a lot of other stuff to spend your orbs on. Legendary Hero event, That's a big one. Special banners, obviously those are limited heroes. Are they as valuable as legendaries, mythics, emblems? Probably not. But special banners are always fun. So for what it's worth. That's supposed to be the Bride's banner, by the by. So if you were holding out hope that you weren't going to get attacked for Bride's banner in Heroes, that may or may not be happening in the next week. So you won't have to wait long. That's kind of nice, you know? The other thing, obviously, is going to be the remix banners, right? Those are always pretty strong, I think, for the most part, in terms of like older heroes. We are getting a new Heroes Return, which that's going to emphasize things like Ascended Heroes, Rearmed Heroes, Attuned Heroes, things like that. I would say it's limited, but Ascended Heroes are in the standard pool. The last new Heroes Return banner we got was actually pretty decent in general, but these typically tend to lean towards the individual account and not necessarily everyone on the whole. For example, maybe you don't have a particular Ascended hero, which means you could get a Floret, which would be very useful to you, but that would not mean anything to someone who already has it, or doesn't want to merge, or yada yada, right? So these guys, I always suggest you just kind of take it at face value for yourself individually. But most of the time, for me personally, I have found myself skipping these. It is what it is. Whenever Lumera shows up, which I did get a second Lumera, admittedly, I burned 9 more orbs, and I ended up getting a second Lumera. I'll share more about that later. This is just between us. Just between us. My mom's in town, so I haven't had a lot of time to like do anything online. I've been trying to spend more time with her, and she's asleep right now, which is why I'm making this video super late. Yeah, I will share more on the insanity that was that. I did take screenshots, which is nice. Yeah, typically I will skip these unless like Rearmed Robin's coming back, which I have a lot of skills invested in her. Lumera, whenever she shows up on these guys, I will probably partake in my limited annual budget of orbs. But beyond that, I think it's really up to the individual account. You know, anything limited, honestly, menace skills probably not worth it. I haven't seen any newer heroes that have come out with more bonkers type skills. So that one's probably a pass. Push, I feel like it's probably the same. I haven't seen any new heroes off the top of the dome that would constitute as being like super busted in current. But like, you know, current power creep level exists at about a 3-week basis in heroes. So, you know, skills that have come out years ago, probably not super beneficial. You know, the Turn of Fate banner, I feel like that's maybe worth it. But we also just had Hero Fest with Brave banners, like probably not also really worth it. Just take your tickets and move on with your day. Yeah, I say probably saving up for the midpoint banner that likely has some sort of mythic hero, one would assume, from the story. That's probably going to be worth your time. Obviously, any special heroes that are coming up, those are probably going to be worth your time. And then if there's an old favorite or classic that's coming up on a revival banner that's limited, that's worth your time. But it's very much up to the individual account. Come August, come December, November, we will have banners that are basically just a benefit to anyone who is summoning on them, right? Right now, it's up to the individual. So, as per usual, I will say, approach each banner to your own specific need, and don't get caught up in the hype or the favoritism or, you know, what have you. But, you know, obviously, if there's a character on here that you genuinely really love, and they're older, their revival only comes but once a year at this point. They're special. For remix, a couple times a year. So just budget appropriately, spend consciously. That's what I try and get across to most people. But yeah, that is what it is. We're in the pre-really hype period. Where we're in a couple weeks, we're gonna get the midpoint, and then a couple weeks after that, we're gonna get Brave Heroes in August, right? Which is obviously a really big deal for a lot of people, and so on. So we're in a bit of a ooh. Is it gonna be really bad for me? Am I gonna get attacked in the orb stash type situation? So hoping that Iz leaves you alone or attacks you, depending on what you really want. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I found it helpful, like, and until then, I'll see you in the next one.